We're back again, and today I have a subject of sugar. And now I told you that I'm also a paramedic. So for the last 4 days I haven't been here because I had to work to get time off. So before I kind of start, I wanted to read you something that I wrote that kind of gives you a glimpse into my other life. I had never met you before this day. I was never there for any important moments of your life. I don't know your values or beliefs or which religion you are. We have never even shared a meal together or had a conversation, yet I will remember you. We met on the battlefield as you welcomed me into the fray of your fight. I told you I would do my best as I looked into your eyes and felt your fear. Your family looks on and doesn't understand. I cannot stop to offer any words. I'm heading into the battle that is unfolding in front of me. I take my place at your side and engage in the fight. I don't know you, yet I join you without hesitation on this day as we fight for your life. We fought hard, you and I. I continue to fight as you slip away. Your battle has ended, and now I must go. For on the horizon, another is brewing. As I gather my things and try to make sense of it all, I hear a whisper and am reminded that it is God who is in control, and some days he calls us home. That's kind of a thing that it's in my other life, and I have experienced that one too many times. And that's part of the reason that I do what I do here. I mean, because I see way too many people out there on an ambulance that it didn't need to end this way. It didn't need to end this soon. So anything I can do or say to help, I'm all about it.
Thank you, sister.
So today, sugar. We continue our our cruise into nutrition. So today we're going to talk about sugar and what it does and how it does it. All right, so what was your favorite sweet growing up? Does anybody remember? And then, what was your favorite sweet now? Did it change? Or is it pretty much the same? That's my nemesis is sugar. I have a hard time with it. Especially out on the ambulance, in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., you're hungry, you're tired, guess what? And they have a gas station.
Yeah.
Lots of sugar. All right, so
Chocolate was always involved.
What?
I think chocolate was always involved.
Oh, absolutely. I've gotten to be somewhat of a chocolate snob these days, which has helped a little bit because they don't sell the good kind at the gas station. So that helps. So did you notice any changes in your body when eating sugar? It changes it, kind of like caffeine or alcohol does. Sugar is the same. It changes. It makes us sluggish, not think as well. You know what? Sugar does this. So we're hyped up, we're down. Kind of like this cat. All right, so my intention for today is to permanently change your relationship with sugar. True. All right, please listen and take part fully as your life depends on it. Because it does. Sugar feeds cancer. All right, everybody know what a PET scan is? The PET scan is positron emission tomography.
Scan your pet.
Yeah, you scan your pet. Bring it on. Anyway, it helps physicians to pinpoint where the cancer is. All right, but they know that cancer cells are highly metabolic, right? So they put you on a fast, and then they bring you in the next day, and they give you some radioactive sugar. Okay, and those little cancer cells by that time, you know, because you've been fasting, they're very hungry. So they suck up that radioactive sugar, and then they can take a picture of that and tell you where that cancer is. And this here is a picture of stage 3 lung cancer. That's it there. There are other ways to do this, much safer ways. There's a thermogram, and thermogram actually, it's non-invasive, non-radioactive, and it can pinpoint cancer and detect it about 100 times quicker than like a mammogram. Yeah. Much safer. All right, so can I interest you in a soda? Sodas are, used to be a treat, and now, I mean, have you seen people walking into work? They walk into work and they like this, oh, soda. You know, they start their morning and they continue all day with that soda. All right, so in the first 10 minutes of drinking that soda, 10 teaspoons, 10 of sugar hits your system. 100% of the recommended daily intake. You don't vomit from the overwhelming sweetness because they put phosphoric acid in it, and it cuts the flavor, allowing you to keep it down, so you don't get nauseated. Yeah, science and will take your health away. In 20 minutes, your blood sugar spikes, causing an insulin burst. Your liver responds to this by turning any sugar it can get its hands on into fat. And there's plenty of that at this particular moment. In 40 minutes, caffeine absorption, that is if it's a caffeinated soda, which most of them are, right?
Well, the uncaffeinated are worse.
Caffeine absorption is complete, your pupils dilate, your blood pressure rises, your liver dumps more sugar into your bloodstream. The adenosine receptors in your brain are now blocked, preventing drowsiness. You know, just like when we're tired, a lot of times, you know, truck drivers, EMS people return to caffeine in the middle of the night to keep us going. All right, so 45 minutes after drinking your soda, your body ups your dopamine production, stimulating the pleasure centers of your brain. This is physically the same as heroin works. So sugar's a drug. That's all there is to it. It's just a drug.
I'm a drug addict.
In 60 minutes, the phosphoric acid binds to calcium, magnesium, and zinc in your lower intestines, providing a further boost in metabolism. This is compounded by high doses of sugar and artificial sweeteners, also increasing the urinary excretion of calcium. So what do we have a big problem in this country with already? Osteoporosis. All right, so then we're drinking something that's going to rob us of our nutrients, and we can't stop that. It just goes right on through us. All right, the caffeine's diuretic properties come into play.
That looks like my grandson.
It makes you gotta pee. It's now assured that you'll evacuate the bonded calcium, magnesium, and zinc that was headed to your bones, as well as sodium electrolytes in water. All right, and there's another thing that we have trouble with. Anybody hear of an irregular heartbeat, AFib? It's when your heart at the top just quivers like this.
I've had
So
that before.
it doesn't pump the blood like it should, so it kind of sits there. When the blood just kind of sits there and it's just quivering, right? It clots. So you can end up with a clot in your heart, in your lungs, in your head, in your leg, actually anywhere in your body, and it's going to cause a lot of damage. And our heart needs all of our electrolytes and our water and our minerals to be able to pump regularly. That's what keeps us pumping the heartbeat regularly. And if it gets irregular, it's lost its minerals. And so therefore it just can't pump. And I see all kinds of arrhythmias on the ambulance. And, you know, and it doesn't happen to people that aren't sick. It happens to those of us who have lost our diet and are on prescription meds and are sick. And that's a big thing with folks. It's the atrial fibrillation, the irregular heartbeat. So in 60 minutes, as the rave inside you went into a rave, or are we beyond that? Okay, it dies down. You'll start to have a sugar crash. You might become irritable, sluggish. You have also now urinated all the Coke or whatever you were drinking, taken that way, but not before infusing it with the valuable nutrients in your body. They could have been used for things like hydrating your system, building strong bones and health, and keeping your heart in rhythm. And I see people with electrolyte imbalances on the truck. We especially see it in the summertime and stuff. And a lot of folks, younger and older, you know, they're out here, they're drinking these either soda or the caffeinated drinks, the highly caffeinated energy drinks and stuff like that. And these people are passing out. Some of them go into cardiac arrest. I mean, it's...
What are those symptoms? You can't read it.
Oh, yeah, it is a little small. Convulsions, fatigue, bone disorders, seizures, confusion, numbness, weakness, irregular heartbeat, blood pressure changes, muscle spasms, twitching, nervous system problems. Anybody ever experienced, you know, when you're highly kind of twitch?
Yeah.
Okay, again, that's just a small one, but, or a restless leg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're missing your electrolytes, your magnesium, your zinc, your calcium, all those. You put that back and that stuff goes away. Or even walk. That walking helps too. All right, so in your Coca-Cola, all right, so if you've got a 12-ounce Coca-Cola, the small one, which a lot of folks drink that one, but it's these other ones are becoming more popular, the bigger ones. All right, 140 calories from sugar, but look at that, 39 grams of sugar in one soda. All right, in the 20-ounce, 65 grams of sugar. I mean, your poor little pancreas is down there just having going, what? You know? And the liter bottle, 108 grams from sugar. Not to mention, you know, all the calories, is, you know. So these just wreak havoc on the body.
Liquid candy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So in comparison, all right, we saw how much sugar, you know, 39 grams, right, in the smallest one, the 12-ounce Coke. All right, I go out, you know, as a paramedic, we go out, we get called for people that have, their sugar goes too low, they're in a diabetic coma. All right, so you gotta wake them up. All right, and this is the stuff that I use, basically, to wake them up. But look at that, 25 grams of sugar. That's all that's in that. 45 grams of sugar to wake them up, where the smallest Coke have 39. And just that 25 grams can jump their sugar up to 300. I did that yesterday. I had to do that yesterday too, okay? And an insulin overdose. All right, and now everybody's, you know, the foo-foo coffees and stuff, you know, everybody's got to get their Starbucks or whatever, right? Look at this. 47 grams of sugar, 380 calories from sugar. But 47 grams of sugar? That's twice what I give a diabetic to wake them up. So I guess if you drink one of those, you should be very awake. Now here's a surprising one. Okay, we have holiday dinners, right? Look at this. 105 grams of sugar.
Yeah,
And you say,
everybody
"No, but
passes out
I don't eat a lot
afterwards."
of sugar, and I don't drink a lot, or, you know, I don't drink sodas or candies or what. But look at this, look at what's on your plate, and then a piece of pie to go with it. But look at this. You know, most of this stuff is gonna turn to sugar. 105 grams of sugar on that plate. Crazy, huh? And then we think that that's safe.
Be 210 for me.
All right, now let's look at the comparisons. 20 ounces Coke here, 65 grams of sugar. Okay, you would have to eat 3 pounds of carrots. But it's not the same because 3 pounds of carrots has all your fiber and stuff in them, right? So it's not going to raise your blood sugar. Those 65 grams of sugar and 3 pounds of carrots. I don't know anybody who sit down and eat that many carrots. But if you could, it's still not going to raise your blood sugar like this Coke's going to. And it's not going to damage your body like this Coke's going to. God made a carrot. So everything that he put in that carrot, as long as it's not GMO, is going to take, everything helps to take care of each other and facilitate where it needs to go in the body and get into the cell. It's perfect. All right, your life can completely turn out differently when you're eating well and understand food. You can be sick. And I see a lot of this. I even saw it within my own family. It's very distressing. And they're all gone now. They died horrible deaths. Or you can eat right, and we can experience life the way that we were meant to experience life. Because when we're sick, and we're like this, we can't do what God's asked us to do. And then when we do in church, we spend time praying for these people. Not that we don't need to pray for these sick people, but just think of all that time praying for the sick, and the pastor has to go out and visit these people. Y'all, we could be visiting people that actually don't know Jesus yet. All right, so food goes into our stomach, and it gets digested and absorbed into our blood. All right, we all pretty much know that, right? All right, and our blood is what creates our cells, our tissues, our organs, and even our thoughts. Yes, our thoughts. Because when you eat terrible, you don't feel good, and your thoughts ain't that good. All right, so, and we've all seen this before, right? The healthy one. Okay, it's floating freely, and it can carry the nutrients and the oxygen that the body needs. Or this. This here is actually diabetic blood. It's missing in the middle. So it can't carry what it is, and then it's all starting to squash together and stick together and sticky. So at a cellular level, I mean, it matters. It matters what we put into our mouths. So we feel differently when we drink coffee or alcohol, or even when we eat sugar. Sugar's addictive just like anything else. Okay? And we just don't operate right. All right, so here's a chance to handle what you eat and drink. We need to understand the causes that the cravings that we get, and knowing how to naturally get over them. Sugar. It's not the problem. It's the solution in the moment. Everybody's ridden the sugar roller coaster? You feel bad, and you roll sugar, and then you crash, right? You're tired, no energy, sad, lonely, dissatisfied, hurried. You forget half of everything. So in the moment, add sugar, crash, eat again, use sugar, crash. We keep playing this over and over. Now, homeostasis, we want our bodies in homeostasis. The definition of that is the property of a system that regulates its internal environment and tends to maintain a stable, constant condition of properties like temperature or pH. And so our food, what we eat or drink, it's gonna change that. You know, if we're not eating the right things, we don't have homeostasis, and our body can't do what it needs to do. It's got to spend time fixing things, and then soon we don't have any, we don't have any of our building blocks left because, the soda thing where we just washed them all out. So we need to create a balance. Our calorie intake, our nutritional intake, our activity level, all of these, and then the body, spirit, and mind, it's all pieces of health. And a lot of times when we talk about health, we think about either you're sick, what we eat, it's everything, it's the whole body. I mean, it even goes to like our friends, right? The guy that was sick and his friends, took him to see Jesus, they couldn't get to him, so they lowered him through the roof. So now who's he hanging out with? That's health. All right, so understand your cravings. Is it dehydration, lifestyle, seasonal, lack of nutrients, hormones? These are some natural sweeteners, and we use sweeteners, but they're still sweeteners, and they're still going to mess with our blood sugar. Some of them, they may react in a different way, but if we use them wisely and in moderation, we can use some sweeteners. I'm going to show you how in a minute here. All right, so whenever we go and we buy stuff, the label reading thing, it's very important to read the label, as I found out today. I bought some pasta, and it had some stuff that I couldn't eat on it. But I bought it, I just ran through the grocery store, grabbed it, because normally when I buy it, it doesn't have stuff that I can't eat in it. It did today.
Yeah.
All right, so the different names for added invert sugar, malt sugar, molasses, raw sugar, sugar. Anybody know that sugar, regular white sugar, it's not vegan? Anybody know that?
They do something with it to bleach it with bones.
Yes, exactly.
They do what?
Yeah, they use cow bones and stuff in it. So, yeah, your white sugar is not vegan. So, yeah, there goes another one. Yeah, but see, when that happens and stuff, Gas was telling us we didn't need that anyway, right? So, but just so you know, little fun fact. All right, anything ending with ose, dextrose, fructose, glucose, lactose, maltose, sucrose, and most of those are corn sweeteners, okay? And corn, it's GMO.
Yeah, it's true.
And most of those are like fake sugars and stuff. Glucose isn't. Syrup, brown sugar, corn sweetener, corn syrup, fruit juice concentrates, high fructose corn syrup. Most of you taking this one off the label because everybody kind of got wise to it. Everybody knows kind of now what it does. It's not good for you. This one here, the high fructose corn syrup, corn sweetener, because it's real solid. Your body can't process it.
So fruit juice concentrates are corn syrup?
They're not corn syrup, but they're sugar.
Well, yeah.
Honey. And see, some of these may not be as bad, but then when we think that maybe what we're looking at doesn't have a whole lot of sugar or whatever in it, and we start looking, and it's sugar.
I have a question. So does natural sugars also feed the cancer, like maple syrup and honey?
Any sugar does. So what we have to do is we have to balance our sugar. The imbalanced sugar is when it spikes and then it comes back down, but then it goes below the normal level. And somebody that we know had blood sugar spikes, and he's kind of leveled out. And his blood sugar readings, and that's just being here at camp. So I mean, that's awesome. So food really does. You can see it on his blood sugar reading. It's very cool, and it was so exciting. That's funny. All right, so when they spike, we're eating sugar or carbohydrate, something that turns to sugar. And it's going to cause your glucose levels to rise. Your insulin is going to rise. And to move the glucose where it's supposed to go. And it's going to be for immediate use, or it's going to get stored for later, fat. And then it will fall quickly and So then we get on the bandwagon again, and so you're driving, oh, I better get some sugar, you know, or you need to eat, and it ends up being carbs or sugar usually. So one step to control our sugar cravings is we can manage those spikes or drops in our blood sugar. You don't have to be diabetic to have spikes and drops in your blood sugar. The 3 o'clock, that's a drop. All right, and if your blood sugar is balanced, you don't have that drop at 3 p.m. And you can do that by pairing carbohydrates with protein and fat for the slow introduction of glucose into the bloodstream. You can increase your fiber, the green smoothies, right? It's a lot of fiber, a lot of really good stuff in those things. So some of the best foods to reduce sugar cravings include the healthy fats, like nuts, seeds, avocados, things like that. So if we use those to snack with, then it's gonna help level our blood sugars out. We don't have that 3 p.m. crash. So, and then address our deficiencies, right? Okay, well, when we're eating bad food, we get deficiencies. Sugar cravings can be triggered by deficiencies in certain nutrients. Magnesium, zinc, chromium are some of the most common culprits. Chromium, vanadium, chromium, and zinc is things that help actually control our blood sugar. All right, and when we don't have those, blood sugar is uncontrolled. And then one of the big things today is they call it metabolic syndrome, which is insulin
Resistance.
yes. Need a word, let me find a word, Alex. So your insulin can't make it into the cell, so it's like you have enough insulin, you know, and that's what a lot of diabetics are. They have enough insulin floating around out there, and it just can't get into the cell because their diets are off, and we're not giving it the nutrition to get all these nutrients that, you know, in and out of the cells and to unlock things to where, you know, to where we can operate efficiently like we're supposed to. All right, we get enough sleep. Getting enough sleep, good quality sleep, can increase energy levels and improve our impulse control. Because when we're tired, we're just, you know, stumbling around and we're going to grab whatever. And your sleep has to do with hormone levels, cortisol levels, leptin, ghrelin. I think last year we learned about leptin and ghrelin. One increases hunger, one shuts it off. So if we have the balance in with the leptin and the ghrelin, we're not hungry when we don't need to be hungry. Right, we manage our stress. All right, so stress affects the hormone cortisol. And elevated cortisol it can alter your circulating levels of glucose and insulin. And a lot of women, as we get older, that's what they tell us that this is cortisol. And it can impact blood sugar, sugar cravings, sleep, a lot of different things. Stress, Reverend Malcolmus of Hallelujah Acres, he was very stressed out. And he got on stage one day and he wasn't acting right, so the family pulls him off quickly, takes him to the local hospital, find out he's having a stroke.
Wow.
And his diet was pristine,
Yes, it
but
was.
his
But the
stress levels
level.
were through the roof. So that stress, even though your eating habits are well, it can't conquer that stress. You have to, and he survived it with no deficits or anything. In fact, I have a movie that he made about a week after he had that stroke.
I said, who wants that?
Who was it he wants to know?
Who?
Who was that?
Reverend Malcolmus of
Hallelujah Acres?
Of Hallelujah Acres. He has passed now.
Mhm.
Never heard of it.
Right? So we gotta hydrate.
But he lived till he died.
That's right.
Yes. No. A lot don't. Quality of life.
Yeah, quality of
The
life.
quality of life isn't there, but he with him he did because him and Rhonda exercised. They ate right. He learned he needed to manage his stress, and so he got to live each day to its fullest. You know, and I see so many people because that's all I do. I pick up the same people over and over and over again. You know, they just get sicker and sicker and sicker. And we take them in, the hospital tosses them out. We take them in, the hospital tosses them out. Give them a prescription. So, yeah. And when we hydrate, sometimes thirst is mistaken for hunger. A lot of times, if you think you're hungry, drink some water, and you'll find out that your sugar cravings go away, and it was really, you were just thirsty. And the older we get, a lot of times we get dehydrated, and our thirst mechanism kind of gets shut off. And I see that a lot in the back of an ambulance. I get a lot of fluid in the back of an ambulance, and when I can stop a like if somebody is sepsis or on the verge of, just 500 cc's of normal saline will lessen that person's hospital stay by 3 days. So that's how important the fluid is. So if if we're drinking enough, staying hydrated enough, it helps across the board.
Yeah, I know the older that mom got, the less I could get her to drink.
Yeah, and maybe I'm not thirsty. Yes, you are, you just don't know it.
And that's why you get a UTI, because you're not drinking enough water.
Yeah, so a lot of people end up with the UTIs and things like that. Excess sugar consumption can increase the risk of cavities, metabolic imbalances, several other health problems. But sugar's addictive properties can make it hard to kick the cravings. It's like a drug up here, and the drugs affect your brain the exact same way sugar does. Cheese does the same thing. That's why we all like cheese so well.
That was the hardest thing for me to walk away
Cheese,
from.
oh, it's terrible. So if you, the things that we just discussed, if you try and implement those, then you'll notice improved energy, mood, overall health, and then your sugar levels will balance out. All right, and here's just some more tips for removing sugar in your diet. Just completely take it off the table. Don't buy it. Out of sight, out of mind. Cut back on the amount of sugar that you add to things. You can start cutting it in half. Your taste buds will change and adapt to that, and then pretty soon stuff is just too sweet, you don't want it. Like the fruit in the fruity smoothies. At first you start out, you want to put fruit in that because you're used to sweet. And then as you go along, in about a week or two, you notice that you don't really want that much fruit in the stuff because it's too sweet for you now. Because you just get used to it. Buy fresh fruits or fruit canned. If you're going to have canned fruit, make sure it's canned in water or the natural juice. Natural juice is going to be high in sugar. But don't get the kind that's canned in syrup or the heavy syrup. Instead of adding sugar to cereal or oatmeal, add your fresh fruits or dried fruit. When they do these are cakes, cut the sugar called for by your recipe to 1/3 or 1/2. And that'll help. Or you can get some really good recipes that don't really call for sugar.
Yvonne, I have started sweetening a lot of things with apple juice concentrate. Is
Okay.
that doesn't seem to bother people.
And
And it's still good.
Yeah, it does. I've had people say that before, that they use apple juice concentrate. So just using it to sweeten things. Because it's not a complete sugar like table sugar and stuff. And that was the fruit juice concentrate that it mentioned earlier too. That's the same thing. They're saying you can add extracts like almond, vanilla, orange, or lemon.
Vanilla makes everything better.
Yeah, I love vanilla. It smells so good.
But make sure you get the pure stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I make my own.
Yeah, we make our own too.
It has foods with spices instead of sugar. When you start learning how to cook with spices, a lot of Middle Eastern recipes have, if you go out and get some of the ethnic recipes, they do things a lot differently, and they don't use the sugar like we do, except they do Thailand. Diabetes is crazy there, because they have sugar to fruit juice.
I had a patient once that was in for headaches, massive headaches. And I took her breakfast to her one morning, and you know the little 4-ounce containers of grape juice? She wanted 6 packets of sugar to put into that.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay, doc, I know where her headache's coming from.
Because grape juice by itself is good.
I know.
I can't take much. I always cut mine with, I like grape juice, but I usually, cut it with the carbonated water, you know, the, tonic water, whatever it is, that stuff.
Just plain water. That's so
Or you substitute unsweetened applesauce for sugar in recipes, and unsweetened applesauce works really well as an oil substitute. I don't like oil in my stuff. So, I use the unsweetened applesauce to, like if I'm making a cake or something like that. When I'm cheating and making the box cake, the gluten-free box cake, it asks for oil. I put applesauce in. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Your body can, but you can't. No sugar substitutes ever. Don't use them. They're awful. They cause all kinds of terrible things to happen to your body. Every single one of them, because they're a chemical. They're not natural. The only thing that might be with stevia is a plant, and if you get, the only way you can do that is get the stevia plant that's ground up, and it's just
green. And it's green.
Yes, it's green. I have that, and sometimes when I make some tea or something, I'll put some of that in my tea when I'm making it. And it sweetens it up a little bit, but you gotta be careful too, because then it gets that bitter taste to it.
What about moringa?
Huh?
No, monk fruit.
Monk fruit. Most of the time, monk fruit, the stuff that you buy, you can't get 100% monk fruit.
Okay.
If you'll look on the label, because that's what I thought too. I was like, oh my gosh, I know there's something, And
What about like that
it's from
guava?
corn. Huh?
What about like that guava syrup back there?
The
Agave.
agave syrup, it's the same as corn syrup, and it's, the liver can't handle
It
it.
gives me a headache.
Yeah, and the liver can't handle it. It's the same, it causes cirrhosis, the liver gets stuck after just corn syrup.
Date syrup. It's dates.
Date syrup is just dates. It's good stuff. And sweet.
My
And
first
never give up.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, show me now.
So, I have a milkshake here, we can try.
Are we ready?
That uses no sugar. And Halloween Acres used to make it when they were up in Shelby. And whenever we would take a patient to Cleveland, I would drop my patient off and I would stop by Halloween Acres and get me one of these milkshakes. And then I stopped by so much that they ended up giving me the recipe.
Is this
Speaking